Okay. So let us start our today theory class, that is quantum mechanics. Basically, in this week we will get the holiday on the Friday regarding Moharram and also on the eve of Varalakshmi Vratam. But our online classes continues because of less time regarding the semester syllabus. Before 28, we should complete our present lesson quantum mechanics and also semiconductors next lesson. All these are math. Class. Teaching, I should know that whether it is reachable to you or not. Either 3 or 4 minute fluctuation in the signal is okay because we are using the Wi-Fi concept. Now in this present lesson is about quantum mechanics. In the yesterday's class, we have discussed about matter waves. So in the matter waves, I have given the classes in your YouTube links also. Yesterday I shared to you both first day class. Unfortunately, second day class link is deleted. Actually, I got 2 times. For that purpose, I think that it got a second time repetition. I deleted that. But original video is also deleted. Again, I will upload. No problem in that. Next one, third day also. I have shared link to you. Because if anything, if any sound break happens at the middle, it will not be happened in the recording link. Because recording was done at my laptop directly. So you can see the recording link. You can prepare that link at any time when you are preparing your exams also. If you have a link directly. So till now in quantum mechanics, we have discussed about de Broglie wave equations, problems. Next two experiments, they are Division-Germer, also G.P. Thomson experiment. Regarding experiment, these are the two experiments present in this quantum mechanics lesson. So we use these two experiments to detect the matter waves. So what is matter wave? Matter, when it is moving, exhibit wave properties. Then that is known as the matter waves. Mathematically, matter waves concept is given by de Broglie. Experimentally, matter waves concept is given by Shermer and also G.P. Thomson experiment. Yesterday, we talked about differences in the two experiments. Next concept in this present lesson is given by Heisenberg. The principle is called uncertainty. Heisenberg uncertainty principle means Heisenberg is the scientist name. Uncertainty is not able to find out the exact position of the particle. That's why that is called uncertainty. Certainty means exact. Uncertainty means it is not exact. So in this lesson, we are learning about the detection of the matter waves experimentally. So when we are learning about the detection of these matter waves experimentally, first we should know the origin, what we are discussing and why we are discussing about the matter waves. Suppose if a wave is generated with the motion of the material particles, that is movement of the material particles, that is known as matter waves. If the material particles are at rest, then there is no existence of these matter waves. So we can generate these matter waves by both microscopic and also macroscopic bodies, but our lesson is about microscopic bodies. So in this present lesson, we are learning wavelength for the matter waves. In de Broglie wave equations also, we have learned about wavelength formulas, and in matter waves also, we have learned about the wavelength formulas. So this wavelength is not for the light, and this wavelength is for the matter waves. So the concept of these matter waves started in the year 1924. First suggested matter wave is electron wave. So in addition to this electron wave, matter waves are existed throughout our universe. Every moving particle or moving object will possess this matter waves properties. We have chosen in yesterday's classes about the two experiments how we can prove that matter exhibit in addition to particle nature, wave nature also in our previous class. These two are the experimental evidences. There are many experimental evidences to prove these two experiments. So to learn any experiment, first you should know whether the experiment is in theory or the practical method is same. First you should know what is the aim of the experiment. So the aim of these two experiments is to test the matter exhibiting wave nature. That is the aim of these two experiments. Final result, we have suggested that yes, matter exhibit wave nature. Experimentally, it is proved with two formulas. One is Bragg's formula and other one is de Broglie formula. These two formulas explain about the correlation between Division-Germer and also the G.P. Thomson experiment. So both of the experiments done with detection of these matter waves, but experimental operators are different. So even though there are many experiments, the first experiment which is invented in matter waves detection is Division-Germer experiment. This is the first experiment. It is done in the year 1927. After that, there are many experiments which is invented to explain about the evidence of the matter waves. So in that regard, this Division-Germer experiment, it consists of two electrical batteries B1 and B2 and a filament which is made up of tungsten. And here this is laser gun. Here G is the gun, laser gun, and inside the laser gun there is a filament that is tungsten filament, and this T is a nickel target, the target which is made up of the nickel. So what is the main concept of using this nickel target is, if a fast moving particles are stopped by anything, in movement, that energy is converted to another form of the energy. So basically we know that energy can be converted from one form to another form. If particle is moving, it has kinetic energy. If it is suddenly stopped by any obstacle, then automatically that energy will be converted to another energy, that is said to be a wave concept. So the result is particle, we are starting with particles, electrons at the filament, tungsten filament. Later, the path of the electrons is objected by the nickel target. So automatically they change the direction. Suppose if we are moving, if there is any obstacle, we will change the direction to go from one place to another place. Similarly, here electron also changes the direction. That change of direction is known as diffraction, and splitting into many directions, that is known as scattering. So that scattered electrons will be collected by the collector here. So this is said to be the U-shaped. The collector is in the form of U shape. Here C is the collector. Collector has the scale to observe the diffraction angle and the scattered angles of the electrons. So the difference between diffraction and scattering is change of direction is diffraction. Change of direction in many directions, that is known as scattering. So this collector is connected to Z, that is known as galvanometer. So why we are connecting these operators to galvanometer is, whenever electrons, fast moving electrons is stopped by this nickel target, then that scattered electrons, the movement of the electrons will create electricity. So that whether electricity is generated in these operators in the form of wave. So starting input is matter in the form of electrons and the output is a wave. So to test that whether electron is converted from particle nature to the wave, we are using galvanometer. Generally for electricity, we are meter, voltmeter and galvanometers. So to test how much electrical current is present in the circuit, we will use ammeters. So to test the voltage, we use voltmeters. So to test whether electricity is present or not, that is galvanometer. It has a needle. If galvanometer shows G, there is no electric current in the circuit. If it shows any deflection other than 0, then electric current is produced in the circuit. So in this experiment, again this Division-Germer tested for several voltages. First started with 54. 54, Division and Germer, two scientists, they tested for also. So they tested for 44 volts, 48 volts 54 volts and 60 volts. So by changing the potential of the experiment, what is the change in the diffraction angle of incident electron beam? They observed that there exist certain changes in the diffraction beam angle. So the diffraction angle of the electron beam will be changed. They don't change for all voltages. They will be occur some changes in certain potential. So let us observe, this is the exact potential of the experiment, that is 54 volts. So to compare with this voltage with another voltages, they used for another one also. So here there exists one cylinder which is moved on the circular scale, that is known as Faraday cylinder. So this Faraday cylinder will observe the movement of the diffraction angles of the electrons accelerated with the voltage V in the present experiment. Next one, already we learned in the last class that nickel target has several planes inside the target, that is inside the nickel material. So every atom has several number of atoms. If you join the atoms, we get the planes. So the distance between any two neighboring parallel planes inside the nickel crystal is, yesterday I said that 0.90 into 10 power minus 10 meters. We can write this in terms of nanometers or in terms of meters. So in the result, Division and Germer used two formulas. One is de Broglie and other one is Bragg's formula. To test that, what is the correlation between these two formulas for their experiment? So they proved that by applying this voltage directly in the wavelength, lambda is equal to 12.26 by root V. Here V is the potential, that is 54 volts. By solving this, we get 1.67 angstrom units. Again, by using the Bragg's law for our present experiment, Bragg's law formula. So regarding formulas, these two formulas are important to your lesson. That is Bragg's law 2d sin theta is equal to n lambda, and de Broglie wavelength formula 12.26 by root V in terms of angstrom units. So we can take it this formula in terms of nanometers also. If we take it in terms of nanometers, this 12.26 will be converted to the other forms. So by applying the input voltage given in the experiment, we will get de Broglie wavelength for the electron wave as 1.67. By using Bragg's law, they proved that the value of this matter waves is 1.65. How you get matter waves in this experiment? Matter waves are the electron waves which we get when the electron is moved in the experiment. This is the result which we get in this quantum mechanics. So they proved that both these two values are in good agreement. This indicates that matter waves are generated in the experiment in the form of electron waves. So later, next one, G.P. Thomson experiment. Another single scientist, previously two scientists, Division, and next one is Germer. Now, G.P. Thomson. Every concept which we learn in the physics is a scientist inventions. Some of them are mathematical inventions. Some of them are experimental inventions. Physics can be invented either mathematically or experimental also. But without mathematical, there is nothing invented in the physics. Because to do anything, any experiment, we need a formula. Formula is a mathematical expression between the physical quantities. Suppose if there is no inventions, nothing shall be invented in the physics. So physics is the combination of both mathematical formulas and experiments with the help of operators. Now, G.P. Thomson experiment. So G.P. also performed the experiment with the same material, that is electron. G.P. Thomson also, Division Germer applied for electrons, and G.P. Thomson also applied for the electrons. But the applied potential is very large, 50,000 volts. See how much difference? 54 volts, 50,000 volts, highest range. Lowest range, 10,000. We can do this experiment with the change of potential from 10,000 volts to 50,000 volts in this experiment. And they also observed that electron undergoes diffraction. Your unit 1 second lesson is diffraction. And in this present lesson, quantum mechanics also, you are getting the diffraction. But this is difference. That is light diffraction and this is mass diffraction. So light can undergo diffraction matter, that is material particles, also can undergo diffraction. If a student gets awareness about our total universe is nothing but only matter and waves. Matter is fixed at a place and matter also can move. That is quantum mechanics. Quantum is a particle in micro size. Mechanics means moment. What happens if material particles moves? That is a quantum mechanics part. So in this regard, in your lower class, you have learned only about objects movement, not particles movement. Present, this is modern physics, which explains about the particle movement, that is in terms of quantum mechanics. So let us see about what is the difference between Devonshire-Germer and also the G.P. Thomson experiment. So in this G.P. Thomson experiment, he used one long form of a cylinder and a C, that is a cathode, and later one slit, that is S, later Z, that is gold foil. This is a material which is made up of gold. Later, to observe the diffraction pattern on the screen, they used the photographic plate. This experimental arrangement. So physics made you simple if you can able to learn experiment from the diagram. Within very short time interval, you can learn many experiments. No need to by heart everything, the word which is present in the theory concept. You can describe the experiment also if you are grip in the experiment. So subject is important. Everything as it is from the test to your answer is important. If your explanation has the subject involvement, then you can describe the experiment also. So Devonshire-Germer and G.P. Thomson, everything information present in the experimental diagram and in the formulas, two formulas. So we are applying both these two formulas in Devonshire-Germer and also in the G.P. Thomson experiment. So after learning about the experimental pattern, here what is observed on the photographic plate is as another diagram. So what is observed on the photographic plate? These rings. In interference experiment, in interference lesson, in Newton rings experiment, these are called rings. But in this lesson, these are not rings. These are just images which are formed due to electron diffraction on the photographic plate. So a center one is called as the central spot, and the pattern which we are observing is diffraction pattern, but this is not light diffraction, this is electron diffraction. So you have lessons which explains about light can undergo the diffraction and also material particles can also undergo the diffraction pattern. So already you learned in lower classes how X-rays are invented. When fast electrons strikes the tungsten filament, X-rays are generated, which was done by Röntgen. So if electrons are converted to wave, then they can also be used as X-rays because we get X-rays from electrons. So in this regard, here we are concluding that the emitted electron which are transmitting in the form of waves, then they can be correlated with the X-ray diffraction pattern also. Now, these are the results which is given in the G.P. Thomson experiment and also in the Devonshire-Germer experiment. So, Thomson experiment explains about matter waves and G.P. Thomson also explained about the matter waves. And they both of them explained about the wavelength patterns which we are taking in the previous experiment. So, in depth already explained yesterday about the wavelength which is given in the two experiments. So, actually, yesterday's class, some students said that there is a break. That's why I continued in the today's class also. Now, our next concept is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So Heisenberg is a scientist name. Uncertainty means not able to find exactly. So clear example, if a particle is at rest, we can easily find what is the location of the particle. If the particle is moving, we cannot justify exact position. Not only particle, anything. If a bus is at rest, we can easily say it is at college. If the bus is moving, locate the what is the location of the bus. Exact say what is the location of the bus because it is in movement. So not only particles, every moving object location cannot be identified exactly because it is not at rest. This indicates that if anything is at rest, location is identified. If it is at moving, exactly we cannot identify location. So we cannot say during our say implementation the position will be changed because the position is at rest. So this indicates that Heisenberg said that for every particle, if it is at rest, we can locate the position, and if the particle is moving with respect to time, we cannot exactly say. So if the time changes, particle position also changes. So this principle, which cannot say exactly, that is known as Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So we can apply this Heisenberg uncertainty principle for position and also for energy. If the position changes, automatically the energy of the particle also changes. So this principle of Heisenberg given in quantum mechanics in the year 1927. So in this regard, Heisenberg used two properties. One is x, delta x. X means position, delta x means change in position. P means momentum, delta P means change in the momentum. So in this regard, to understand what is the uncertainty in the measurement of position and also momentum for microscopic particles. Quantum mechanics can be applied for both macroscopic and microscopic. Mainly our present syllabus is about study of microscopic particles. So basically, we cannot say quantum mechanics for very high size. Only certain size which is obeyed by the quantum. Quantum means small size. Mechanics means moment. Moment of the small size particles. So in this regard, Heisenberg explained about the what is the change in the position and also the momentum when we are considering about position of the particles. I will explain these formulas clearly in the derivation form also. So present I'm explaining in the only formulas. Now I will explain how we get these formulas. So delta x is the change in the position and delta p is the change in the momentum. Next, Heisenberg explained that if we use both the two properties at the same time, so the product of both these two quantities is h. That is Planck's constant. Next one, we can also write this in terms of delta p into delta x, that is equal to h, but it is greater than h by 4 pi value. So what is the difference between h and h by 4 pi? Classical physics use Planck's constant in the form of h. But quantum mechanics modified the value of Planck's constant to h bar. H is used in classical physics and h bar is used in quantum mechanics. The name of h bar is modified Planck's constant or reduced Planck's constant. So what is the relation between h and h bar? H is used in one form of physics and h bar is used in another form of the physics. So for objects, we use h, and for microscopic particles, Planck has given another denotation to measure energy of the particles. That is h bar. So the form which relates both h and h bar is equal to h by 2 pi. So in this regard, again Heisenberg correlated momentum and position with respect to h by 4 pi. Now I will explain the exact mode of the derivation also. So our lesson started with the concept of particles and the waves. What is particle and what is wave? And if anything exhibits both particle nature and also the wave nature, then that is known as the quantum mechanics dual nature. So in this regard, our quantum mechanics first started with particle and the wave difference. Let us see the diagram of particle and a wave. Particle means a small dot, wave means up and down momentum of the energy. That is called as the wave. So the diagrams of particles and waves are different. Now, particle at rest, then only we can locate the exact position. But wave, there are two types of waves. One is progressive and other one is stationary. If we transmit energy from one place to another place, then we will use waves. So wave carries energy through the medium. Next one, if we consider about a particle, its dimension is very less. It is negligible. And
it moves from one place to another place. And if you consider about the wave, it will spread out in the large region of the space. Suppose if the particle is stopped at any place, then that energy is converted to other form of energy. When the particle is in movement, it has kinetic energy. If the particle is stopped suddenly, then that energy is converted to other form of energy according to law of conservation of energy. This is the principle involved in accidents. If a fast moving vehicle is stopped due to accident, so that much of kinetic energy is converted as the form of mechanical energy and the vehicle get destroyed. So because of very high kinetic energy, so you already learned in the lower classes inertia, the concept of inertia. So if a body is at rest, if it wants to change to movement, it does not start suddenly. It does not change the position suddenly. It will take a certain time. So basing upon that, a moving body cannot stop suddenly. If anything obstructed, automatically that kinetic energy will be converted to the mechanical energy because of very high striking in between the accidents will be get happened. So in this regard, when any particle also will be get obstructed suddenly, then that energy will be converted to other form of energy. So in this lesson, we are converting the electrons to the electron waves. Particle properties are mass, velocity, momentum, energy. And wave properties are frequency, amplitude, time period. And basing upon its movement, we get phase difference and also path difference. Later, mixing. So mixing of means if two particles are joined. So basically particle dimension is very less. So interference is negligible. But if we consider about the waves, if two waves mix, then automatically we will get interference lesson. So in this regard, these are the main differences between the particle and also the radiation concept. Next one, in the previous lessons in your lower classes, you have learned that light exhibits dual nature. That means having both particle nature and also the wave nature. So it is called dual nature. But our present lesson, quantum mechanics, explains not only light exhibits dual nature, our present lesson, material particles also exhibits dual nature. So because why light exhibits dual nature, some of the scientists said that light is in the form of particles and some of the scientists said that light is in the form of a wave. So this indicates that overall conclusion, light exhibits particle nature and also wave nature, that is called dual. So as the radiation, light means radiation, possesses dual nature. In addition to the radiation, our present lesson also that is material particles also exhibits the dual nature. So in this regard, our present lesson, that is radiation, it will behaves like a particle nature. So the invention of quantum mechanics is Max Planck. So that's why our formula started with Max Planck discoveries. Max Planck in quantum theory explained about de Broglie wavelength relation and experimental detection of these matter waves. And the next one will continue to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle also. For the sake of Heisenberg uncertainty principle, derivation in the PPT it is direct formula. So this is said to be Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So this explains the dual nature of the material particles. In this regard, we have taken delta x and delta p. So delta x is the x position, delta x is the change in the position, and p is the momentum, delta p is the change in the momentum. So delta x into delta p, that is greater than or equal to h by 4 pi Heisenberg principle. This is greater than or equal to h is Planck's constant. So write down the formula. Now present derivation starts. First one x. If you write before, we write it as consider. If you write after the formula, we can write it as where. So x be the position of the particle. Delta x, change in position. Change in position of the particle. Next p, momentum of the particle. Delta p, change in the momentum of the particle. Next, H, Planck's constant. H value, Planck's constant. So from this formula, Heisenberg used again some of particle moment formulas to convert it to the energy relation. Okay. Our present lesson is about particle movement. Whenever the particle is moving, every moving object and moving particle has kinetic energy. So the energy of the moving particle E is equal to half mv square. Energy of the moving particle E is equal to half mv square. Next step, multiply and divide with mass. Multiply and divide with mass. So numerator m square v square, square is common for both, and the denominator 2m. 2m. Why we are doing this mass multiplication both sides? Mathematically, it is equal by multiplying and dividing with the same quantity. But whenever we want to convert mass into momentum, we will do this concept. So mass into velocity momentum. That's why we get mv p square by E is equal to p square by 2m. Highlight this formula. Most important formula which connects energy and momentum in quantum mechanics. E is equal to p square by 2m. Same formula you get in de Broglie wave equations also. P is equal to square root of 2me. Same formula. So the next step is E is equal to p square by 2m. Differentiate this equation, both sides. Differentiation means we are applying the change. That is, either we can write it as dE or delta E. Change. This is the form of a change. So delta E is equal to p square, 2p into delta p. If you write in terms of dP, differentiation dP, you can write it as a dP or delta p here. So p square differentiation 2p. Again for p difference delta p. Next denominator same 2m. Instead of d, here we are using delta because in Heisenberg principle, change of any physical property is represented as delta. Change in the physical quantity, it is represented as delta concept. That's why. So the next one, after differentiation, 2 will be get cancelled. Then we get it as p delta p by m. P delta p by m. Okay. Next one, we know momentum is equal to mass into velocity. That's why right before delta p there is one p. In place of that p, write it as mv. mv. Momentum is equal to mass into velocity. Delta p is the same by denominator mass. M and M will be get cancelled. So finally we get delta E is equal to V delta P. Delta E is equal to V delta P. Here V is the velocity and P is the momentum. E is the energy. Delta E in energy. Delta P change in momentum. V is the okay. Next, well, we know that velocity when we get velocity, when there is change in the position of a body with respect to time, then we get velocity. So velocity V is equal to dx by dt. In your lower classes mechanics part, you get this. Velocity is rate of change of position. V dx by dt. In quantum mechanics, we are writing it as delta x by delta t. So substitute V value in this formula. Delta E is equal to, in place of V, delta x by delta t into delta p. So if this by delta t is converted to LHS, it becomes into delta t. Delta E into delta t, that is equal to delta x into delta p. So Heisenberg given uncertainty in two physical quantities. One is momentum p, other one is energy E. That is, if a particle is at rest, there is no momentum. We get momentum only when the particle is moving. That's why we should test momentum of the particle when it is moving. Later, when the body is moving, it gets energy also. Either kinetic energy or potential, first it gets energy. So the energy is represented by delta E. So Heisenberg formulas are relation between momentum and energy when they are changing. That's why changing in the momentum is delta P and the change in the energy is delta E. So already in Heisenberg first principle, delta X into delta P, that is greater than or equal to H by 4 pi. This is first formula by Heisenberg. Later the second formula now we get is delta E into delta T, that is equal, we get delta X into delta P from the first formula H by 4 pi. So substitute. So Heisenberg has given two formulas for quantum mechanics. First formula is delta X into delta P greater than or equal to H by 4 pi. The second formula is delta E into delta T, that is greater than or equal to H by 4 pi. H by 4 pi. This is in terms of energy. The next one is in terms of theta and L for angular displacement and angular momentum. So if theta is the angle, first theta is the angle, delta theta means change in the angle. So actually our previous formulas are for linear motion. Now we are comparing with formulas for angular motion. When the particle is moving in with some angle, then the distance measured by that particle is called angle. How much angle it makes when the particle is moving? That is theta. Change in the angle, del theta. That is, we can take it as d theta or delta theta into delta L. L is the angular momentum. So that is also greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. So these are the three formulas given by Heisenberg. One is in terms of position, delta X. Other one is in terms of energy, delta E, correlated with angular motions, that is delta theta into delta L, that is greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. So basically these are the formulas important for your online bits for MIT 2 syllabus. Heisenberg uncertainty principle. They will give this product and in your multiple choice mode you will get these values. Suppose if that is equal to h. If it is greater than or equal to, then h by 4 pi. Avoid the confusion. If this is equal to delta x into delta p or delta e into delta t is equal to. If the symbol is equal to, then the value is h. If the symbol is greater than or equal to, then the value is h by 4 pi. These are the three formulas given by the Heisenberg. So already we discussed this. What are the properties of the waves? Previously in the starting of the lesson itself, matter waves properties. Suppose if V value is less, lambda is high, and if V is low, lambda is high, V is high, lambda is low, because both of them are inversely proportional. In one case, what happens if V is 0, then lambda is infinitive. If V is infinitive, lambda is 0, because both of them are inversely proportional to each other. These are matter waves properties. During the starting of the class itself, we discussed about this experimental concepts. Already we completed this. So you have completed your online mid-exam and object test, but regarding theory concept, I never allowed paragraphs. So please avoid the paragraphs for your mid-1 theory exam and also in the semester. This is not a stories. This is a science subject. You should write it in the form of either subheadings or points. That will make you to learn easy also. If you allow the paragraphs, it will be started in the first page and it will be ended in the last page of the booklet. Okay, so this is all science subjects should be followed in the form of points. Now, next concept is Schrodinger wave equations. So another scientist in quantum mechanics, PPT is also there, but for clear explanation of the derivation part, we will go through here. Schrodinger wave equations. So Erwin Schrodinger is a scientist who explained about this quantum mechanics duality nature. So he explained the mathematical invention. Not this is experiment, this is mathematical. Erwin Schrodinger is a mathematical scientist. So Schrodinger has given two formulas. One is with relation to time and other one is not related with the time. That is, if the process depend on time, time dependent. And he also tested whether it is not dependent on the time. That is called time independent derivations. This is purely mathematical derivations. Both these two are. So Schrodinger has given a new denotion to explain the duality nature of the matter, that is called psi, threshold symbol. That is called wave function. So the symbol for psi is known as wave function. So he denoted one new quantity to explain about the dual nature of the matter. So first of all, we should know what is meant by wave function psi. So it is the denotion which is given in quantum mechanics by Schrodinger to explain about matter waves dual nature. So if you take m, it is a particle. If you take lambda, it is a wave. If you take psi, both. The symbol for psi is called as wave function. To draw it on the paper, that is the threshold symbol psi. In this regard, both Schrodinger not only taken time independent and time dependent, he applied de Broglie wave equations also to explain about the matter waves. So wherever necessary, de Broglie wave equations are applied in these Schrodinger wave equations. So first of all, what is meant by wave function? That is psi. We can apply this only for the dual nature. We cannot apply this psi only for the particle nature or only for the wave nature. We can apply only when the exhibiting as the wave nature. That is the dual nature of our presentation. So we can apply this psi only for the dual nature. That is the first important point. And the next thing is, for what about the dimensions? If the particle is moving, it can move either in one dimensions or three dimensions. For the purpose of the location, in physics, we are using coordinate system. You are aware of Cartesian coordinate system, XYZ axis. So actually that is a mathematical concept, but we use this Cartesian coordinate system in physics also to locate the objects from origin. So is a specific point from that how much distance the particle is. So either in XY plane or YZ plane or XZ plane. In any plane, to locate the position, we use Cartesian coordinate system of mathematical concept in physics. So in this regard, we can apply this particle movement either in one dimension and also in the three dimensions. So what is the difference between one dimensional concept and three dimensions? Suppose if there is X in the formula, that is one dimension. Then if we get both X, Y and Z quadrants in the formula, then that is called three-dimensional concept. Now the formula, general wave equation. So you are aware of general wave equation in your lower classes. Y is equal to A sin omega t minus kx. That is the general wave equation when the wave is. So that is general formula of a wave. Later here in the quantum mechanics, scientists explained the general wave equation, that is normal light wave, sound wave and heat wave equations. But this is matter wave equation. So same y is equal to E minus kx. Psi. Observe all of you equation 1. Same equation is converted in the form of wave function psi. So the displacement y here is psi. Next one, in y is equal to A sin omega t minus kx, A is the amplitude of a wave. Every wave has amplitude. It is the coefficient of either sine function or exponential function. Here, quantum mechanics scientists, they are using exponential function. So for exponential function, amplitude is psi naught. So psi is the general symbol, that is suffix, we have to take it. So at the bottom right corner, we will take it as naught, psi naught. Next one, exponential function of matter waves is e power I into omega t minus kx. Coefficient, sine of omega t minus kx for normal waves. For quantum mechanics matter waves, scientist has given the formula because the movement will change exponentially. If the particle is moving, the properties will change exponentially. That's why they are using it as e power. So e power I into omega t minus kx. This first equation given by the Schrodinger for the matter waves. So actually, is it clear? Are you able to see it clearly, the derivation part? Please. It able to clear formulas. Otherwise, I have explained PPT. The terms. The PPT textbook terminology direct. And here in that how you got in each and every equation. Reason we are I is equal to sin naught into I into minus is completely mathematical. So describe what is k and x. Wave function and psi naught is amplitude of the wave function. Amplitude of the wave function or matter waves. We can say it as amplitude of the matter waves. Symbol is psi, for purpose we are taking it as a wave function. Next one, omega. Omega, angular velocity. Mostly we are applying this for the electron. Present for the electron, part of in the atom in orbit. So angular velocity omega. Next is the k. So these formulas first we did formula for one dimension. Let me extend this to the 3 dimensions. Okay, this formula. So the next one is you are all MPC students, you have differentiation. So here Erwin Schrodinger derived, actually this is the invention given by Schrodinger mathematically. First Schrodinger used this formula, that is wave function. Later Schrodinger derived this formula 2 times to get second order differential wave equation. So the first time differentiation, apply the step differentiating this equation 1 with respect to x. So here we are differentiating this equation with respect to x. Can differentiate this equation with respect to time and also with respect to x. Here Schrodinger followed the differentiation with respect to x. Differentiating equation 1 with respect to x. So LHS d psi by dx. So no need of delta here, only for Schrodinger. Heisenberg only we use delta. Schrodinger used for differentiation d psi by dx, LHS. LHS d psi by dx, RHS sin naught e power I into omega t minus kx. Again power, we have to apply this differentiation for the power also. So in the power, we are differentiating with respect to x. The x coefficient is minus k. Actually here I is common to both terms. That's why we got I also. I omega t minus I kx. I omega t minus kx. First term we are not differentiating with respect to t. We are differentiating only with respect to x. That's why x coefficient is minus ki. Okay. Now, today home task for you. Actually, time is at the end of the class. So second term differentiation. From in the tomorrow's class, even though it is a holiday, I will take online class also. In a particular time, I will share the link to you. Because we have another chapter also, time is very less. For that purpose, we can share online class. don't bound to the college timetable only for the second mid syllabus. We should take in college timetable and in another hours also to make our syllabus to make it fast and then to revise overall once again. So remember that I will make you to get practice total physics syllabus in the online class itself. Derivations I will repeat and make you to get practice instantly in the online class itself. Once again, repetition of the total overall syllabus because I pity you, you have to write mid 1 and mid 2 syllabus on the single day in the single session with 1 hour break. So total physics syllabus you have to face on the single day in your mid theory exams. So from my side, I will give you 100% justice to coverage of the total syllabus, not only in the college timetable, in others, another leisure time also. So in this regard, till now, we have completed the today's class. Those who have followed the today's class, raise your hands. Already I said that quantum mechanics is a mathematical. You also obeyed that rather than theory, formula is easy to learn. Very good. So all the students have raised their hands that you have followed the today's class. So in this regard, I will ask a few questions before closing the class. That is, you can unmute and say the answers. First thing, our lesson is about materials, particles or waves or both. Quantum mechanics.
Both, ma'am.
So what is the name of that both natures called? What is the name?
Particle nature and wave nature.
There exists one name for that. Combination of both particle
Dual
nature and wave nature is called?
Dual nature.
Duality.
Yes, very good. That is called as a dual nature. So who is the first scientist to explain about the dual nature in quantum mechanics? Dual nature of matter waves. Yes, de Broglie. So quantum mechanics started with which scientist? Who is the inventor of quantum mechanics? Starting origin, father. Max Planck. Okay. Father of this quantum mechanics is the Max Planck. So quantum mechanics explains about macro size or micro size?
Micro size.
Yes,
Micro size.
Yes, good. Micro size. So our present lesson is the study of particles at rest or particles at movement.
Particles
Movement.
Moment.
Yes, very good. That is the name of our lesson. Quantum means micro size. Mechanics means movement. Okay, that is about our quantum mechanics part. So, okay, next thing is in quantum mechanics part, de Broglie measured what property for the matter waves? De
wavelength.
Broglie measured
Wavelength.
wavelength. So de Broglie measured wavelength in terms of momentum or not? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Next, kinetic energy.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next one, potential.
Yes,
In
ma'am.
terms of potential,
Yes, ma'am.
you have done problem
Yes, ma'am.
also. In terms of temperature,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
He
yes.
measured
In terms of temperature, also we will get that, and also formulas are also completed in terms of the de Broglie wavelength. So the next concept, we have studied two experiments: experimental detection of these matter waves, Devgen-Germer, and also the G.B. Ramson experiment. And later, Schrodinger today. Last question, what is meant by psi? What is the name of psi in quantum mechanics?